Hey all, and Ida. Just responding to your sharing about transcending your mind, or that point of transcending one's mind. It's interesting because I see it. I've actually walked the point very different from you in a way. So it's kind of cool to see how when people share themselves, you see different ways of one point. So obviously each one is unique in how they view things based on their own life experience, based on the way they just see things naturally, based on their life, what happened to them in their life and just how it shaped them. So, yeah, that's why I like sharing, because it's important to share yourself, to support your own self in understanding where you stand with things, and also allow others to learn from you. So it's like a learning experience. And the way I see transcending the mind, what is a very, very specific, direct process. And when I found Desteni, I was at a point where I was very uncomfortable in my body. Like, I was sensitive to my body, so I didn't like the experience of myself in my own body. So I just wanted to figure out, and obviously the way my life was, how it manifested, so to speak, was quite intense with different things. So I was a mess, basically. And I was looking for solutions. I had watched Passion of the Christ, and I was on weed when I watched it. And somehow, some way, Jesus' words clicked for me. And I was able to see more of what something like switched on inside of me, that I was able to see more of, say, life, or a message that is of truth or supportive, compared to all the other kind of movies that, are just like a system type message. Not to say that movies aren't supportive, because they are, but a lot of them are silly. But yeah, Jesus saved me, which is funny. Kind of like a joke thing, but yeah, his words in that movie, I was like, moved me. And I was like, all right. So that kind of started me to investigate deeper meanings to different things. I got into like all sorts of religious stuff, spiritual stuff. I don't know, I got very interested in afterlife, psychics, all that kind of stuff. So that was fascinating. And then my friend, she eventually told me that she could had some kind of spirit person in her, and she could write with her finger, and it was some kind of channeling thing. So I got into that, and then I found Desteni, because she was she was connecting to some I don't know, I was researching 2012 or something, and I found Desteni, and that just was like a whole new world that opened up of investigation. So I kind of just went on my own path with it. I got to a point where I just went with it, so to speak. And yeah, it started Desteni process, obviously, and that was back 2009. And once I started hearing about equality and oneness, and what had to be done, walking self-forgiveness, obviously in the beginning was daunting. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this, but I like this message. I want this kind of living. I want equality and oneness. I want war to end and poverty. And I see this specific message here is something that I've never heard in my life before, and I see the value and I see there's truth there. Like, if you look at it commonsensically, the outcome, if you walk this process, is a different reality, a different self that is supportive of life, not harmful. So that intrigued me very much. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. And so I started writing self-forgiveness, and I wrote on some kind of website, and Guion was the first person that responded to me. It was like, oh, cool, forgiveness. Like, he kind of just supported me in those times. And it was like actually very supportive, because at that time I was like very closed off to people and insecure and really didn't trust people at all. So I was like, that was kind of unique, because no one has ever really, like, in this way, it was just a unique point. So I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, this kid's cool. And Fidelis was also another one I connected to because of his music. I was like, oh, this guy is so good. I've never heard music like this, so this group is something else. There's something unique here. The first song I heard by Fidelis was that Timeless one, and it's such a beautiful song. And then, yeah, I just got into it through just connecting to the people, actually. So I appreciate you, Guion and Fidelis. You supported me in the beginning. And then Bernard and Sunette, obviously. So Bernard was just like, his words rang true to me when he spoke. And I was just like, all right, I can trust this guy, because it resonated inside of me. There was something that resonated as truth with his words specifically. So I was like, all right, I can trust him. I can trust the portal, because their message was specific and trustworthy as well. And this was something very, very unique in terms of the system life I was living. I never heard this kind of message before. So it was like a switch on, so to speak, or all right, this is something I can actually trust and walk. So it was basically the examples of these people, Bernard, Sunette, initially Fidelis and Guion, but then once I got in the group, I was blown away by the people. You know, we used to share in the forum and have awesome conversations and things like that. So, yeah, I was like way into it, because I was like, all right, this is awesome. This is something that I can really build and work towards, and know that my efforts are going to eventually create heaven on earth, a world where people are taken care of and poverty ends, war ends, because the common sense is there. It just has to be lived. And Desteni message spoke common sense. It was just like truth that can be applied to all, no matter who you are, and the message obviously is very specific to that. But obviously the difficult point is that you got to do it for yourself. You got to transcend your own mind. And so when I realized that, eventually it's like that was my goal. It was my passion. Like, there was nothing was going to stand in the way of me and transcending my mind. So I was like, it was like a direct path, and I'm still on it. So for me, there's no question in terms of, am I going to transcend my mind or not? It's already done for me. I just have to walk the point. And obviously, I'm years into it, so I've obviously seen an incredible amount of growth. I'm sure we all have. So, yeah, for me, this process is like my life. This is all I do, honestly. I've lost interest in many things I used to find, like movies, TVs, yeah, I watch that sometimes, but I'm more like interested in, I don't know, different like practical stuff, like figuring out how to make things better, or figuring out how things work, building stuff physically, understanding nature and animals. Like I've gotten really more in tune with that. And yeah, just connecting to people more. I've noticed like I'm now more able to meet someone and use my example to, so to speak, influence the other person in a positive way. Not always. I'm not perfect in that point, obviously, but I've seen progress in that point where I can support the environment to be something beneficial for all instead of harmful, where before I had hardly any influence because I was so trapped in my mind. I could only see the horrible things or whatever, the judgments and all that junk that goes on. So in terms of my own example is what I was trying to share with the messages the past couple of days, that I've changed just unbelievably. So like I'm like a new being in a way. Like I'm so different in terms of my stability and my depth of seeing things and my connection to nature, life itself, what that means. So I definitely see it's possible to transcend the mind. It's not impossible. It's just the word impossible I've always seen as I am possible. So impossible is just like the initial phase of self-creation. So it will be done, heaven on earth. It's just a matter of when, and obviously the more we can get this message out, the quicker heaven on earth can be created, because I have to transcend my mind, and so does in all humans. And obviously in our time now it's quite intense and many people are suffering, so it's a worthy cause to give it our all, to make this one life count, make this one life be whatever it takes to bring heaven to earth. And that's kind of my point and purpose, how I've always kind of driven myself, because I want heaven on earth. Like I want that for my kids, I want that for the kids that are here. Just it's time to start creating that, because it's never going to be created if we don't create it for ourselves first, become the example and be able to share and show and give this example and teach others how to do it. That's why Desteni is, so to speak, exclusive or important to market and share out, because it's got the solution right in the websites. All you have to do is apply the tools. And yeah, there's like, I don't want to keep going into this group point, but I mean, that's just where I stand with it. Like, I'm just going to focus on this point and market Desteni and market myself and show, you know, I've changed. I used to not be able to look in the mirror, and I can now run, company meetings with many people and be fine. So and I attest that to Desteni and the tools. I don't attest that to anything else but what I've walked with Desteni process. And my own self-will to understand where my mind's at, why I'm doing what I'm doing, and find the solutions to change it. And through this process of stabilizing myself with forgiveness, I've found so much more creative potential within myself. And that's why I'm like so into the Destiny group or whatever, is just because everybody in this group has so much potential, so much creative potential within us. And obviously there's creative potential within everybody in society. Everybody has it within them. But we can use the platforms and what we've already walked as a way to support others. Because obviously the principles are put yourself in other people's shoes. Who would you want to be if you were someone that was looking for solutions but didn't know where to go or what to focus on? And they happen to come on to one of your videos and get into Destiny because they found your words supportive. Just like I found Guion and Fidelis. So it's like what we put our focus on is created. So what you put your focus on is who you are, what you create. Me personally, I'm way into Destiny and walking this point. Wherever you guys are in terms of your pillar points and what you want to create is your point and what you are going to create. I'm simply sharing myself in terms of where I stand and what I'm going to be focusing on. And anyone that wants to join me, come share yourself. That's fine. I'm totally into it. But yeah, I'll just keep moving myself, finding ways to share myself and enjoy with you guys whenever we meet up. Yeah, I'm just kind of singularly focused for some reason on this point, and I just see a lot of value in the Destiny message, and I've gained so much gratefulness for Bernard and Sinette and all the portal beings and all you guys that I just see it's an obvious way forward. And the gifts that this process gives is extraordinary. It's like you can't even put value on it. It gives life, literally. And yeah, that's been opening up in my life, like I've been really connecting to nature, animals, kind of seeing how the natural world exists, and yeah, it's been inspiring. So that's how I see transcending my mind. I've always seen it as a point of, it's already done, I just have to walk the point. Heaven and earth is already here, we just have to create it and use our life-giving gifts to do it. So thanks all for listening. Thank you for bearing with me with all my sharing lately. I don't know, I'm just feeling very passionate, I guess, lately. And I appreciate you all. Take care. Good night. Thanks, Ida, for your sharing and inspiring this recording. Bye.